Warm greetings from the High 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this Monday, October 5th, 2020. I would like to bring you said information pertaining to Miss Breonna Taylor, the young lady who was killed in her apartment months ago. Shootout, a no-knock warrant that was served that caused her death and the injured. The shooting also of her boyfriend at that time, who is currently alive. And there's a lot of rumors speculating on social media about he said, she said. And I'm going to bring you that said information and also an article from CNN pertaining to a grand juror who is wanting to speak out pertaining to the grand jury hearings. CNN is the source. Second grand juror in Breonna Taylor case interested in speaking out, Louisville activist says. This was updated today at 1:18 p.m. A Louisville activist says he's been contacted by a second grand juror who asked for advice on how to speak out about deliberations in the Breonna Taylor case. Christopher 2X, head of Game Changers, a nonprofit that focuses on early education to help curb gun violence, told reporters Sunday that the second juror doesn't want to come forward yet. The juror wants to wait until after a hearing regarding the grand juror who came forward, Christopher 2X said. The hearing is scheduled for 1 p.m. Wednesday, said the spokeswoman for the Kentucky Attorney General's office, Elizabeth Kuhn. The first grand juror, who has remained anonymous so far, filed a lawsuit seeking permission to speak freely about their experiences in the grand jury room and for the release of grand jury recordings and transcripts. Meanwhile, a lawyer for Taylor's family has posted an open letter to Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear demanding that a new grand jury be called to reopen her case. Bree was a hero, a first responder who put her life on the line every day during this COVID-19 pandemic, lawyer Benjamin Crump wrote. Together, we demand a new grand jury to reopen Breonna Taylor's case immediately. Grand jury under scrutiny. Christopher 2X's organization also wants grand jury transcripts and recordings to be released and for jurors to be allowed to speak out. Grand jury proceedings are normally confidential, but recordings from the Taylor grand jury proceedings were released late last week to the public and journalists. Taylor was fatally shot at her apartment in March by officers executing a drug warrant. The grand jury's decision have come under scrutiny because it did not indict any of the police officers involved on charges related to her death. One officer was charged in connection with shots he fired into an adjacent apartment. Kevin Glogauer, the attorney for the first grand juror, told CNN on Sunday that we have heard about a potential juror expressing a similar desire to speak publicly and appreciate their efforts to make certain it is their best choice. Glogauer added, hopefully our client's bravery has helped them in what must be a difficult thought process. Our team will support them in any way possible. Community meetings planned. Members of the Game Changers said Sunday that they've spoken with a representative for the FBI regarding the civil rights investigation into the incident and that they would be setting up community engagement meetings to connect the agency to the public. I feel there's no way in the last week and few days that we can get a level of comfort and trust in this community until we can have real live individuals who studied the situation as it relates to their civic duty, Christopher 2X said. Tim Bean of the FBI's Louisville office said Sunday the community engagement meetings are being held in part to inform the public of their efforts and in part to foster a greater understanding of the agency's role in the community. And this source is CNN. Let me start by saying that the fact that these people want to come out and talk, there has to be some reason why now you have two jurors that want to speak publicly about the hearings. I don't know if it's in a yay content or a nay content pertaining to the grand jury proceedings, but you have to think, why now two people want to speak out? Vicky Meeks, I want to say hello to you. You put a link down below pertaining to allegedly Mr. Walker, the boyfriend, speaking out now saying that he was not the person who shot the shot that hit the officer on the night in question. Let me say this, and I'm going to say this once and I won't say it anymore. Because I don't like arguing about what the hell took place in somebody's house, street, because I'm not there. And if there's no video footage from the first knock to the death of a person, it means really nothing to me, because now you're depending on others to give their rendition of what allegedly happened during a shooting. When a person is under investigation, when a person has committed a crime and a warrant is issued for their arrest, he or she has the right to walk out alive from the said place where the warrant is issued. Be they are going, the police, FBI, whomever, going to their home, their job, whichsoever, the person has the right to be picked up in a civil manner, depending on their manner at the time of an arrest. People are arrested every day, and no one should end up dead from an arrest, whether it be a no-knock warrant or not. Be it a warrant served on the street, as I state, walking in their car, getting out their car, at their home, at their job. I don't want to argue with people about what took place at Breonna's apartment because it's pointless because I was not there. The fact that you all, some of you may have been hearing that Mr. Walker, Kenneth Walker, is saying he didn't shoot the officer. Well, let's think about that. I just Googled a YouTube video from ABC where he is basically saying in the video he would not willingly shoot an officer on purpose, and he is a legal gun owner. So that means he's saying in that said interview that he shot the officer and that he wouldn't willingly shoot an officer and that he is a legal carrier of a gun in that state. Where now he's saying he didn't, I don't know, because I haven't heard him say it out his own mouth. But my thing is this: why would you now be wanting to sue? Because this is a 1 month old video. You can verify it on ABC, on YouTube. Why would you 1 minute be saying, I didn't shoot this man out of malice? Then, of course, say you're filing a lawsuit because they can recharge him again. And maybe some of you are thinking, well, that's why he's allegedly coming out saying he's not the one that fired the shot to the cop in the leg. Yeah. As I state, I have not heard him say it verbatim, so I'm saying allegedly. And this is off another YouTuber channel where I got the link from Miss Meeks below, where a YouTuber is giving his commentation and other people are commenting, giving their 411. They asses weren't there either. I'm going to say it once again. None of us were there. And if we're going to argue about who shot the officer, let's do this. Don't you think by now Louisville police would have told the public her fingerprints were on the gun? Don't you think by now they'd be glad to vindicate their officers for the no-knock warrant that she was the shooter? Don't you think by now, it's October 2020, they would gladly let us know her fingerprints were on the gun? Don't you find it interesting this Kenneth Walker had no charges against him for shooting a cop, trying to endanger the life of a cop, plural? Now, it is also stating they can refile charges. But the point is, they must have felt like he was not in the wrong. And he's filing a lawsuit saying he stood his ground in that state. And I guess he's trying not to be recharged for the said shooting of the cop that night. Another thing I have a problem with is the fact that I brought you that New York Times article the other day stating they did not even search her apartment. So why would you have this no-knock warrant for this allegedly soft target out the cop's mouth? He assumed she was unarmed, but yet you didn't even search for the drugs, which was the purpose of the warrant. Some of you arguing that she was under investigation. You want to let the queen know, oh, that's why they were there, because she was being investigated for stashing drugs, holding drugs, which no drugs were found. So now that contradicts the fact of the article I brought from the New York Times. You see where I'm going with this? It's a lot of he said, she said, different people's versions, and I think most people bring up a version according to how they feel about a storyline. They want to bring their own narrative, so they'll say, this happened, but hell, they weren't there. One person wants to argue that Breonna's name was on the warrant during the grand jury proceedings. Well, hell, I wasn't there, so I can't say if her name was read number 3 on the line as a person on the warrant. She possibly was under investigation. They possibly did get information that she was storing drugs in her house. But as I state, I was not there. I didn't issue the warrant. And I wasn't the one that busted her door down. And I sure as hell is not the person that killed her. And it doesn't matter if she was under investigation. People are under investigation every day. People get information every day. You still don't have a right to turn down a door okay, for a damn warrant. Of course, they do it. They say it's the law. But my thing is this girl died, and a dead person can't tell any tales. So whether you want to believe this person's version, that person's version, it's still sad that this young lady lost her life. You want to argue that she wasn't an EMT at the point of the death. What the hell does that have to do with her dying and being shot? I don't care if she was a butcher, baker. She was pushing a buggy at Walmart, bagging groceries there. What is your point? See, this is where I have the problem with people. You all like to dwell on things that have nothing to do with the issue. The issue is that a young lady was in her apartment. A warrant was issued for her, allegedly, and she died because her boyfriend shot at the police, who he did not know were the police at that time. Some are arguing that they were in the bedroom. Some are arguing they were in the hall. Well, we know they can't be in two places at one time. The cop wants to play crazy during the interview, the New York Times, that, I shot through the window where I thought the suspect was standing. Well, if you shot through the living room window where the blinds were, through the glass door, how is it now people are saying they were in the bedroom and never left? Which is it? Were they in the living room or they weren't in the living room? Were they in the bedroom? They weren't. You see where I'm going with this storyline? Too many conflicting stories. Too many people jumping on social media, acting as if they know the 411 or what happened in that said apartment. The same cop who's the shooter and being charged with the wanton endangerment, basically saying in an interview, if you say I shot through there, then I did. Then if you tell me I didn't shoot, then I agree with that. Come on now. It's either one or the other. You either shot through the window and or the glass door. You did it or you didn't do it, sir. Which is it? So you see, if I see a cop saying yay or nay, why in the hell I'm going to believe anything coming out of anybody's mouth pertaining to this incident? Any officer involved shooting with a civilian, because I wasn't there. But something's fishy about this story. Fishy with some people saying they heard the police knock. Some saying they heard the police announce themselves. I don't know, because once again, I was not there. But I believe a person has a right to be detained properly from the law and taken to the jail and let the judge decide, or 12 members decide, if he or she is guilty of the said warrant. And once again, if her name was on the warrant, no drugs were found in the apartment. And so that's contradictory to the New York Times article I brought you that said the apartment wasn't searched. So one has to wonder, where did the New York Times get that information? And so some of you like to get on these social media pages such as YouTube and argue with the said person bringing you the information. Know this, dumbass. I didn't write the story. I'm only repeating what was given to the New York Times. That's why I always give a source. So if any of you have a problem with any information I bring to you, you go call the New York Times and you argue with what somebody told them. You argue with the people who gave them the 411. I get tired of the comments on Facebook, social media, news break pages where people comment. I'm entitled to my comment just like you entitled to your comment, but you can't get mad at the source. Because what you don't understand, obviously because you're dumb, the source, the paper, they get their information from somebody affiliated with the case. And then they type it up and then they print it. And that's the end of the conversation. I don't know what to believe pertaining to this. Some may say the guy's changing his version that he didn't shoot the cop because he knows he could be tried again. So let me say Breonna's the one who fired the shot. But as I state, don't you think by now the cops would gladly give that said information that Miss Taylor's fingerprints were on the gun? So as I state, what is the truth? And I'm not about to say that girl shot anybody, because I haven't heard from an official from Louisville Police Department that she was the shooter during this no-knock warrant. And I have no verification that Mr. Kenneth said verbatim that he was not the shooter. That's coming from his lawyer. Stay woke. Because the queen woke. 49 and very woke. That's my said. commentary today. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below. Thanks for joining me. And honey, please have a safe and blessed week. Mask up. This is Everyday Shenanigans. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.